America in the 1990s to present, Section 2, with Ms. Lalshi. Balkan Crisis Part 1. Yugoslavia was broken up into smaller countries after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Different ethnic groups within the country further helped to divide the country. Serbia and Croatia declared independence in 1991. Bosnia and Herzegovina declared independence in 1992. If you look at this map here to the right, the green area outlined is what used to be Yugoslavia, and then the red divisions or borders, those are the countries that came out of Yugoslavia. So we have Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, and Macedonia. And if you look in the top right corner of this map, you can see that it's on the Balkan Peninsula above Greece to the the east of Italy. Balkan Crisis Part 2. Serbs were angry that Bosnia and Herzegovina did not become part of Serbia. Bosnia was a mix of ethnic Serbs who were Christian and Bosnians who were Muslim. Serbs living in Bosnia with the support of the Serbian army took control of two-thirds of Bosnia. They began an ethnic cleansing to rid Bosnia of Muslims. Muslims were sent to live in concentration camps where starvation was a major concern. Many compared this to the genocide of the Jews during the Holocaust of World War II. Muslims remaining in Sarajevo were bombarded by artillery day and night. Balkan Crisis Part 3. The United Nations sent troops led by the United States to help keep the peace. The UN and Clinton began to bomb Serbia in the hopes of compelling them to negotiate for peace. Clinton helped to organize a peace conference in Ohio. Leaders from the Balkans met and agreed to peace terms to end the crisis. This was called the Dayton Accords. Today, this region is still uneasy as the different ethnic groups are still seeking self-determination in their own countries. North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement. The North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement is also called NAFTA. This was a trade agreement between the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Each country agreed to lower tariffs on goods imported into their countries. The idea was to increase trade between the three to make it easy to obtain goods from each other. Critics argue that American jobs have moved to Mexico, where wages are lower and businesses are not required to meet environmental or labor standards. People who support NAFTA argue that it has increased trade and diplomacy between the three nations. Clinton's impeachment trial 1999. Bill Clinton had an affair with a White House intern named Monica Lewinsky. When it was discovered that Bill had lied to Congress while under oath, impeachment proceedings began. The House of Representatives voted for impeachment. The Senate failed to reach a two-thirds majority in order for conviction, ending the impeachment proceedings. Clinton was not impeached, but it severely hurt his political authority for the remainder of his term as president. Americans distrust the government more. So, impeachment is removal from office. So what happens is you have the House of Representatives, and they have to have a majority that votes for impeachment, that they're going to charge him with impeachment. Then it goes to the Senate, and the Senate has to have a two-thirds majority to convict him. They're like the jury that's going to convict him of the charges that were presented by the House of Representatives. But the Senate doesn't reach that two-thirds majority, so it goes away. But it severely hurt his reputation for the remainder of his presidency. 2000 Presidential Election Part 1. The 2000 presidential election is one of the most controversial in American history. George W. Bush, the son of George H.W. Bush, ran against Al Gore for president. Al Gore won the majority of the vote by about 500,000 votes. Many states were so close in votes that it was hard for the Electoral College to give their vote to a candidate. It went weeks without a winner declared. It boiled down to Florida, where Bush's brother was governor. 2000 Presidential Election Part 2. It was discovered that Bush had won the state by only 1,000 votes, in a state with millions of voters. Gore demanded a recount of the punch cards by hand. It was believed that the machine that read the cards was not correctly reading those that may not have been punched completely. A lower Florida court denied a recount. Bush was declared the winner and the next president. 2000 Presidential Election Part 3. Gore filed a lawsuit with the Florida Supreme Court that ordered the recounts to begin again. Bush wasn't the winner anymore. Bush filed a lawsuit with the U.S. Supreme Court, who ruled that there was no good way to consistently read the cards by hand and ordered the recount to end. Bush was the winner again and the next president. 2000 Presidential Election Part 4. Many Americans were upset with the Supreme Court. They believed that the Supreme Court justices had voted along party lines. 5 were conservative and Republican, and 4 were liberal and Democratic. Bush was a Republican.